In today's video, I'm going to cover a bunch of common combat situations in Fortnite Zero Build and provide you with solutions and real examples to winning these common fights that most people struggle with. We'll cover things like how to turn a fight around when someone is chasing you down with mobility, how to win fights with effective movement tricks, using shockwaves in combat to win fights, and much more. If you want to join in on these private trainings that happen twice a week, go ahead and click the link in the video description down below and join up as a master level member in the Shinobi Clan. All right, let's get into the video. Okay, go ahead and hit me a couple times in the back for like 100. Nice. Okay. So the key to it is setting up a nice little lane. Not enough, not enough. And it's really hard with a wrecker too, right? Because they're just going to continue to crack you over and over again. But if you can get enough distance, like this is still not enough. Concealment is always very helpful. That right there is very helpful. Now I've got the advantage. Now I just stand still and hit my shots. But that's all it takes is, right, finding that really, really good advantage and enough space. Space is so important to it though. You can't shockwave out and then turn around and expect to just take a fight. Usually it's going to take 2 or 3 shockwaves in order to get in that position where you have enough space and they're just lost enough to be able to turn the fight around. So like JB, go ahead and shoot me in the back. And then chase me down, JB. Okay, I've got enough space right now from JB where I could actually potentially take this fight. Now I'm turning back and I'm just watching. Okay, and then I've got shockwaves ready to go too. Okay, he has no movement, so he's just dead. But see, if I catch him like this, I don't know why my shots aren't registering. If I catch him like that, it's just game over if he's out in the open like that. And that's why we turn around and look back once we have enough space. Because most of the time, if you're leading people in the right areas, you can create a situation where they're just out in the open. And you'll see with my shockwaves, that's what I'm doing. I'm creating like this runway. Like, I was a pilot for a little bit, and like I kind of feel like you look for these big runway strips where you're going to get them landing like an airplane, right? Because they want to land into a slide or find some open space. Most of the time they don't want to land like, you know, in the junk. So you kind of like look for those big open strips, and then you turn around and you watch for them to land, come down the runway. That's what you want to create, but you don't want to be right at the end of the runway. You want to be a little further out in most cases and create some nice advantage. And that's how you really do it. Okay, so go ahead and fry me, JB. You got shockwaves now. Okay, he's hitting me. Okay, he's shocking. I can probably get to this bush, and this is nice runway right here. If he gets into my bush, then I'd be leaving, but he didn't. And see, he lost me because I had enough space. Now let's do it where you're right on my butt. Let's see. What you? Okay, Bob, yeah. Okay, you're right on my butt. And that's gonna take more. I can hear the shockwave come in, so I go again. I look back for a second to see if I can get some damage, and then I go again. Because he's going to get into my bush. Now he knows we're here, and now we leave one more time. And we look for whatever advantage we can get, which is right here at this rock. And now we've got the health advantage. We should be able to finish this up.
So what should I have done in that situation against defending? Like, how not to get defended against?
You basically have to stay right on my butt and apply pressure the entire time. If you allow me to get a little bit of space like that, and you're not instantly on me, then I would just like reset. If you allow me to get into that situation, and if you start getting hit right there, you probably should reset once I hit you really hard from behind that little rock. That's when you should probably reconsider the fight and just be like, okay, I need to find an advantage because yeah, I've been hit really hard. And generally speaking, you shouldn't really chase players who are setting that stuff up because you don't win those. If you're out in the open and they're behind cover, that's not a fight you win if they're hitting shots. So go ahead and I'll chase you now. You try it. Okay, so I got some crash pads. Let's see if you can get enough space here. Okay, you haven't got enough space. This is not something you're gonna win. If I keep on you now and I just stay close, I should win this. Just a slow death, right? So that's why it's so important to either flip back the other way instead of going the same direction. So come back here one more time. Did you have 2 shockwaves or 3?
I think I had 4. Possible.
4, okay, yeah. So you could have come back. So that right there is when you hear the person right behind you, you can't just stay unless you've got like a bush or something that's like really, really good cover. That roof right there was certainly not enough to take the fight from unless you played it like perfect. But come back to this area where I'm shooting and then I'll do it and I'll see kind of like what I would have done just on the fly here. Okay, so yeah, get behind me over here. Hit me with an AR. Okay, so I go out. I go out again, back. This is where we look for an advantage. Okay, we don't have it. And then we go out one more time. That's a nice little runway. Might be able to get something there. Nope. And one more time. And we're looking for something substantial. Okay, he may have lost us at this point. But no, he didn't lose us, but we got him out in the open so we can win it. So you see how that happens? It's like you get so aggressive in the chase that you get a little lost for a second, and that's all it takes. You generally know where they went, and that's almost more dangerous because you don't know exactly where they went, right? And I'm sure that happens to you a lot, given your style of play.
Yes.
Because you don't take a lot of caution with the push, you get punished frequently by people who can hide or who reset and kind of like know where to go. And you can see right there, I was not going to get the advantage any moment on those initial first like 3 shockwaves, whatever it was. I just didn't have enough space and you knew exactly where I was. But once I went over the building, you lost line of sight of me, and then I could get somewhere kind of sneaky. And I could set up something a little bit further than what you'd expect. Maybe like a lot of people would choose this first tree. I didn't choose this first tree because I knew you'd land kind of in this vicinity, and I didn't want to take that type of fight. I didn't want to take a close range fight. I already had health off. So if I could go to a little bit further to the next tree and place stealth, that would be more ideal. And then I waited for you to kind of get out here into a bad spot, and then I just started trying to hit my best shots possible from cover.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so if you're chasing someone like that, you just got to be really cautious about the chase too. So like here, I'll start chasing you and you try to do it to me now, get a little more space. Nice, good. So the shockwave back is good. Okay, I lose sight a little bit. Okay, I see you. I know where you went this time. See how I stop? And I know where you went, so I'm not chasing into that. If I come psychoing over the hill into that spot right there, that's how I die. And that's like, I mean, that's kind of just like a lot of deaths have taught me that. If I know, even if I've got you hurt, right, and you're right there, me taking this fight right here and just keying this right at you, if you're behind that tree, is easily my death to any good player. So if you're gonna do it, you want to shockwave in a way that's angled. You don't want to shockwave straight at them. So I'll show you what I mean, right? The way that I would do this push, if I know you're back there, maybe say I have 100 off on you and I'm full health. Not a massive advantage, but it's something. I would first break line of sight. Then I would come over to make it hard for you. And then I'd go over one more time and land like right next to you so that it would be a hard fight for you to win. But again, you had full health, so that's just the price I pay right there. And that's why you don't push people who have cover. Yes, so that's why we don't key people in open areas while they have cover, and we don't, because it just comes down to, hey, does this person have decent aim? If they do, I die. So you just have to assume that everyone has good aim until you learn otherwise. You know, once somebody misses a ton of, like, I'm out here and somebody's missing me a ton, then the game kind of changes sometimes. Like, if I'm out here and I'm doing this stupid thing, right, and you just start missing me a bunch, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy's pretty bad, let's go. then I just go for something like that and I put a little movement on. But sometimes you can't even pay the price for something like that. You find out, like, wow, that guy somehow hit some crazy shots at close range when he couldn't hit anything at far range. That's the only time that, like, I'll consider keying straight at somebody is if I know that they're just not, you know, they don't have the best aim. Movement drills are something I'd get into the mastery course to do. And really, it's like that same thing with skating. You just need to, even when you're playing BR, you should always be sprint sliding and skating. If you can do that, your entire game is going to change, because once that becomes just a normal thing, you end up doing it in all of your fights, because you realize that it works really well to keep momentum in fights, and you're always just skating around and moving. And if you start to, also a nice little thing is to practice the little zigzag. If you're pushing something that doesn't feel super safe, so if I think somebody might be on that roof, but I don't know somebody's on the roof, if I think there might be somebody on the roof, I don't push in a straight line like this. You'll often see me go like this. And that is to avoid taking a massive shot or taking multiple AR shots. If I'm pushing somebody who's behind cover and I've got them hurt and I've got no movement and there's no like way to break line of sight, I'm doing the same thing. So if Glitch is behind this, right, the way I push this is I go right and then I go left. And that makes it so I'm not just getting fried as I come in. So if you can start practicing that when you push towards people to kind of do this thing where you zigzag, like, yeah, you go slower, but it's way safer. And oftentimes you can catch them, you can force them to get in a bad way. Like the way that I forced Glitch to move to the left was by going to the right. So if he's behind this tree, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this, and then I'm going to slide out to the left. So you can see I was going right. He's reading my trajectory right there, and then he moves left, and then I slide back to the left. So getting those little movements down as you like approach something is really nice. It just takes a moment, and it's just about getting your head going in one direction. It's like just a simple head fake. Works really great with trees as well. Like, you know, when you got somebody behind a big tree, big oak tree or something like that. These trees don't work as great. Actually, they kind of do. So like get behind this shrub right here. Right. He's behind the shrub. He sees me approaching and he sees me doing this. See, that's what he does. And that's pretty much what everybody does. Like everybody. Just a simple head fake like that gets everybody going the other way and then makes a really easy shot for you coming out this way, because you know how to line up the reticle. That's, yeah, something that's really good to practice. A massive way that you can create advantages in fights is by creating the proper spacing with your movement. You change your distance really quick. Something like, you know, a bunker tire or a shockwave, or even just skating in general. So like if I'm fighting Glitch over here, right, and I hit one of these where I go like this, and now I pull out the AR at this range, he's not going to be dealing that much damage to me. Well, he has really good cover, so I wouldn't really take this fight. But if he's fighting with a wrecker at that range, he's still going to be hitting decent damage, but I'm going to be doing way more per shot. This is AR range. It's a funny thing too, because it's really just 5 meter difference. This is definitely wrecker range, but this right here is AR range, right? That fall off becomes very severe very quickly. So like this right here is 20 damage, 36 damage. This right here is 72 damage. You see how big of a difference that is? So if we're talking about AR bullets, at this range, we're going to be out DPSing like crazy somebody who's trying to use a wrecker at this range. So we're hitting 33 repeatedly that fast instead of this fast hitting 30s. So if you can learn to change your distance in a fight really quick using the skate by, say, coming in like this. So one of the best things you can do if you're learning how to do like the striking movement, which is getting close to somebody like this and then getting far. This is not a good example, but like, let's just say that blue Spartan over here. Here we go. Blue Spartan. I hit him hard coming in, and then I create space. And this is a free fight at this point because he's got the wrong gun out. He doesn't know where I'm at. probably as a shotgun out because I'm hitting him with a shotgun to begin with. And then I'm out here just standing still with an AR spraying. That's a free fight. So anytime you catch somebody out in the open like that, if you can do that move where you change distance really quick, that's super helpful. So something to practice in the mastery course. You can do that against the bots out on Aim Island, or I'll just stand still. You can do that same thing even on like roof fights if you can get good shockwaves. So like if I do something like this against Spider Gwen, and then she comes to peek me, she probably is going to keep her shotgun out. In most cases, they keep their shotgun out, and that's enough for me to create a pretty big health advantage. Now she's just absolutely... You'll see me do that a lot when somebody's on a roof. I will not take the fight on the roof. I'll come in hot on the roof if somebody's up there. If you got a situation like that, you basically come over here, you hit a shot, and then as you exit, you're hitting a shot. You might take a little fall damage, but they're going to be out here in the open trying to aim down sights on you with the shotgun, and now you're spraying them with an AR. So that's what I'm talking about, changing distance in fights really quick. Can be really, really advantageous. Because a lot of times you can get another angle. It's actually, flat roofs aren't great. I don't think I'd ever do it on a flat roof. It's too hard. But you could do it maybe like this. See? He has no chance now unless he has an AR out. But he's already got hit for like 100. And at this point, I would just finish the AR. That's something to practice for sure. So like... even just shockwave accuracy is really important. Like all of it, you know, you have to get your base movement down, like your sliding, your skating, your b-hopping, all that stuff has to be so good that you never have to think about it again. And then you can start focusing on kind of the fancier moves and shockwave accuracy. So like, you know, if we want to land right on that red point, you start to learn kind of what it takes to land exactly on, you know, a certain area. You got to be really, really careful. So like if Glitch is looking at me right here, a bad shockwave would be to come out around this corner and do a shockwave like this on him. I should die 9 times out of 10 in this fight because of the way that I chose to push. A better way to take that fight would be to push at an angle or in a way that they don't expect it. So if you're shockwaving, you can't have people reading the play. You can't be telling your enemy what you're going to do with a shockwave. So like, that's why a lot of times you'll see people that like, you see them run out of cover and then throw a shockwave at their feet. And I'm like chuckling to myself, like, bro, if you knew how often I practice shockwave defense, you would not make that move. But if you have a situation where like, you do this, it's a totally different thing, right? Where you go behind a piece of cover and then immediately shockwave, that can be very surprising. So if like Glitch is on this building or whoever that is, BZ Man or whatever, and I run behind this house, I get inside the house and then I just shockwave right onto him, that's pretty surprising and doesn't give him time to think. And then that's when we catch him by surprise and we can win. Even with some mediocre shots. So like not showing your hand is really, really important when you're shockwaving. And the more that you can break line of sight when you shockwave onto someone, the better. A lot of times even like a single tree will do it. Like if I can get behind, like just say that this brick isn't even here and you can like fully see me and I get behind this tree and then I go up, that's often just enough to make it so that it's a very different fight. Because then you don't get the time to see me throwing the grenade. Because if you see me do this, right? If I'm out here and I turn down my head, what are you going to do? Go ahead, start doing it. You start frying me as I come in and as I throw the shockwave, and it's just, you know, it's not good. But that's a very different thing if BZ Man's not looking at me. He's looking at me right now, so I wouldn't do it. But so now here's another thing. Go ahead, BZ, start shooting at me. So see, that is pretty surprising. That is my advantage because I throw down the bunker. He's like, oh, let me see if I can get a shot on this guy in the bunker. And then all of a sudden I'm flying in on him. And he's like, wait. So you can see the breaking the line of sight and just doing kind of the unexpected is really helpful. So when you're doing shockwave plays, don't do them in such a way that people are going to read it, is really what I'm saying. So breaking line of sight like this is just really good. It's just that moment. It makes it so that he can't see me throw the shockwave, and by the time he hears it go off, he's like, oh shoot, right? He had no time to get to cover. Same with like something like this. If I know these guys are on this house and you wanted to be a psycho, you could do the same thing where you just go right through here. Hey, Modest. He's like, no, not again. Also, another thing I'll say about shockwaving through structures that I've finally learned to do is don't hold forward, because you will start mantling things after jumping. So now I'm very calm with my shockwaves, and I'm trying to get out of a building. If somebody's like in my building or whatever, you will mantle if you sprint jump and then continue to hold jump or like mash jump or whatever. So I just literally just do this and I just press jump one more time and then I don't press forward. I'm not pressing forward at all. And that way it doesn't have me mantling things. Because if you press forward after mantling, after jumping, it will often like mantle you if you're close enough to the ledge while jumping. Another thing you can do for movement drills is clean movement is really good. You can get into like a building like this. Something that's like often totally slept on, overlooked, is just really clean movement. Like going through structures in such a way that you're not touching walls. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people cannot navigate through a building and not touch any walls clean. It's really hard, and that's often the stuff that gets you killed in these structure fights or even bunker fights. You can throw down like a few bunkers and then just navigate through them like as clean as possible. So if we grab some bunks over here, and you throw down like one right here, and then you throw down like one right here, and then you just practice your stamina management while weaving through this stuff, so that you're going through and you're not really touching anything. It can be a really good drill, because if somebody is catching themselves on edges, they're dead. If you catch yourself at all on an edge in a bunker fight, you pretty much are dead if somebody's chasing you. It can definitely make a difference in fights, whether it's bunker fights or structure fights or anything like that. The clean movement and not touching any edge like that, see that right there, what I just did, will get you killed. Just stopping and hitting this door for a second and being like, is just enough time for somebody to get around the corner and shoot you in the back. And that kind of stuff is just massive, because if your enemy is not doing that and they're, you know, sprint jumping around and doing all this trying to catch you, you're going to catch them out in the open without sprint. They're going to eventually run out of sprint, and then that's when you can really punish them. Another movement drill you can do is just doing this. Just get this timing down and that flick, where you're sliding back and forth, and just shooting between each slide. Getting the timing right on that, because you do have to let the slide play out. You cannot immediately slide right after shooting. You'll end up ducking like that. So that's one that's really, really important, is understanding like how much sprinting you have to do after a single slide in order to enter another slide. And then also just resetting that crosshair. And yeah, avoid crouching like that. That can be really good for practicing really fast slides and shots. You can just practice the slide part first, like this. And once you have that down, you start adding the shot between. And then, yeah, if you get really good at that, it's going to make you pretty dangerous in a fight. If you can change directions really quickly and put shots between those slides, it'd be pretty nasty. And then what I like to do is I like to mix I usually mix one skate between that. So I don't really have like necessarily a pattern, I would say. I don't think I have a pattern. Maybe I do have a pattern. It's hard to say, but a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do this, and then I'll do a skate or something like that, or change directions with a skate. So I'll usually cut back the other way, and then I'll enter a skate like that. So I don't know if it's like 1 or 2 side to sides and then a skate back like this is like something to really put in to practice. See if you can get that down, because that's really tricky movement, because the person starts thinking that everyone's really good at reading patterns. Humans are great at reading patterns. So like, okay, he's sliding this way. Oh, he's sliding that way. Okay, I got him now. And then they start to go like that, and then all of a sudden you're up, right? Great area. You do need a lot of space. So usually these like open field fights, which are actually really common in Fortnite, because I would say like, I don't know, 60% of the map is just open fields. Anytime you're in open field fights, like, you know, grass fields or hills or whatever it is, you can do this kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of it happens in reload too, when you're just like rotating around the map and somebody jumps you. Get these situations where you just have a lot of open space to work with, and that's when you can come back in a fight, when you can throw out a couple jukes like that. Oops, sorry. And if you can practice aiming down sights between each slide, even better. Instead of just hip firing, the aiming down sights is really nice, because you're gonna get a lot more damage like that. So just throwing a quick aim down sights. It's a lot to put together when you're doing the slide, switching and aiming down sights and landing a shot and being accurate with it. Definitely something to practice, and probably best done in the mastery map, Aim Island. And you're not always gonna land the shots, but then also switching from the slides, you know, to a skate after maybe 1 or 2 slides is really good practice as well. Let's see if you got a down hit, man. So that's when you want to enter. See, now I'm starting to read your movements. That's when you want to enter that skate and change your elevation, because I'm like left, right, left, right, left, right. Like, that's very easy to deal with after a little bit of time. That's when you want to get up in the air for a jump and then start sliding out and doing a skate, because that's like a whole new pattern that I have to learn, and by that time it should be my death. Say you have no movement. Best tactics in that case. Oh, I'm getting third partied. If you have no movement, then that's what I was saying, is like you really gotta be thinking about just where you are in general. Like, if you have no movement in zero build, you have to play the game in a very different way. Be very cautious. You have to stay near cover all the time, and it's just painful. You can't just run in a straight line to get from point A to point B. You have to like run to a structure, and then another piece of cover, and then another piece of cover, and then across the street, and then you have to wait for your stamina regen before you cross another area. Whereas you don't have to do any of that, really. If you have a single shockwave in your inventory, you can go kind of a straight line, just keep that shock out, and if somebody shoots you, you just get to going. But you can see just right there, like, how important skating is. Like, a situation like that where I'm able to get shot in the back, shockwave out, and as I'm sliding into this bush, I'm looking back to see where the opponent is chasing from. Something I probably have never even talked about, but it's such a huge skill to learn, so that when you're being chased, you're watching, as you move to cover, you're watching where your enemy's coming from. So like, I'm keeping all eyes like on him to tell if he's shockwaving or whatever he's doing, and then I'm able to just fight back immediately because I know exactly what he's coming from. Alright, y'all, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please leave a like on it. If you don't like this video, leave a thumbs down. Tell the algorithm that you don't like to see this type of content in your feed, and you'll have a much better feed with better content. If you feel like I've really helped you, or I am helping you take your Fortnite gameplay to the next level, please consider using code TobyOneShinobi in your Fortnite item shop. And if you're not going to use my name, at least use your favorite content creator, because it really helps a lot. Now, if you want to practice your mechanics and get cracked at the game with your aim and your movement, you definitely want to go play my Shinobi Zero Build Mastery map code above on screen. And if you want to learn more strategy, tactics, and tricks for Fortnite Zero Build, you've got to go check out my must-watch playlist for Fortnite Zero Build on my YouTube channel. Trust me, you will not regret it. Thank you all so much for watching. Have yourself a great day. Shinobi out.